Captain Miracade stared out from the bridge viewport of the Starbound, her sharp eyes tracing the silent void beyond the ship's reinforced glass. The endless blackness of space stretched infinitely before her, dark, cold, and merciless. Yet somewhere out there, in the uncharted shadows beyond the known sectors, lay a mystery that would change everything. The galaxy was buzzing with uneasy rumors. The Echelon, a massive warship of the ancient Thalver Empire, had gone dark in the so-called Dead Zone, a stretch of space avoided by most starfarers for reasons no one dared to explain openly. It was a region where no transmissions echoed, where even long-range sensors seemed to falter, as if space itself was holding its breath. No one had dared approach the Dead Zone before. The Thalver were ancient, terrifying, and practically mythical in the eyes of the modern galactic powers. Their warships dwarfed entire fleets, and their technology was far beyond anything humanity had managed to cobble together. The Echelon was the largest of their vessels still known to exist, a relic from a war fought millennia ago, long before humans had left Earth. Now, it had simply disappeared. Myra's comms crackled. Lieutenant Wren's voice came in, steady but laced with tension. "Captain, we've received encrypted orders from the Galactic Coalition Command. Priority 1. Investigate the Echelon's disappearance. Officially, it's a reconnaissance mission, but unofficially," he trailed off. Mira didn't need him to finish. She'd already guessed. The Coalition didn't want any other alien factions to get their hands on the wreck. If the Echelon was still out there, it was a prize and a danger. "Understood, Lieutenant," Mira replied. "Plot course to Dead Zone coordinates. Maximum speed. Keep sensors wide open." The Starbound was a scrappy ship, a human-made exploration vessel retrofitted with scavenged tech and a lot of human ingenuity. It wasn't a warship, but it had grit, and that grit was what made Myra's crew some of the best for high-risk, off-the-map missions. As the engines hummed and the ship veered into faster-than-light travel, Mira leaned back in her chair, letting her mind wander. She thought about the galaxy's ancient powers, the Thalver, the Zalturi, the Vkras, all species that had long dismissed humanity as primitive pests. Humans were noisy, unpredictable, and weak compared to their advanced technologies. Yet, humans had one thing no one else seemed to understand: stubbornness. The Starbound emerged from hyperspace on the edge of the Dead Zone. The ship's instruments flickered with static as they pushed deeper into the no-transmission zone. Myra's pulse quickened. The Echelon should be here, somewhere out in this black silence. A sudden ping on the radar caught her attention. "Lieutenant, scan at bearing 157.4 degrees, she ordered. "Got something, Captain," Wren responded. "Large mass. No power signatures. Looks dead." Myra's stomach tightened. A dead ship that size in the Dead Zone could only mean one thing: a wreck. "Prepare boarding team," Mira said, standing. "We're going in." The Starbound closed in slowly on the silent giant looming before them. The Echelon was enormous, its hull scarred and pitted by unknown forces. Strange symbols etched into its hull glowed faintly, remnants of the Thalver's mysterious technology. As the boarding pod detached, Myra's heart beat faster. She had led missions in hostile space before, but nothing like this. The galaxy's great empires had fought for centuries to keep the secrets of the Thalver buried, and now humanity had the chance to unlock them. The pod slammed against the Echelon's hull and the airlock hissed open. Mira led her team inside. The ship was deathly silent. No hum of reactors, no chatter from life support. Just the eerie echo of their footsteps. Inside, the corridor lights flickered on, revealing twisted metal and scorched walls. Signs of a brutal battle. The remains of alien soldiers lay scattered, frozen in place, victims of some sudden catastrophe. Suddenly, a faint pulse of movement caught Myra's eye. She raised her weapon, signaling the team to stop. A strange creature, pale, translucent, and writhing with a terrible energy, slithered from the shadows. It was unlike anything in the galactic archives. "Contain it," Mira ordered, firing a warning shot that illuminated the creature's strange form. It recoiled, then vanished into the darkness. Myra's comm buzzed urgently. "Captain, this ship isn't dead. It's a tomb, and whatever killed the crew might still be here." Her mind raced. The Echelon was more than just a lost warship. It was a Pandora's box, and the galaxy was about to learn that humanity was the key to opening it. Back on the Starbound, the alien pathogen had already begun its silent work. Unseen, it infected the ship's systems, and soon, the crew themselves. Mira stood at the edge of the Echelon's bridge, staring out at the stars through cracked, ancient glass. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was no longer the bystander. The reckoning had begun. The Starbound's boarding team returned through the airlock, their faces pale under the dim emergency lights. The sight aboard the Echelon had shaken even the most hardened veterans, alien corpses frozen in battle, corridors twisted by unknown explosions, and that creeping sense of something watching them from the shadows. Captain Miracade wiped sweat from her brow as she debriefed her officers in the ship's cramped command center. The Echelon was a ghost ship, no doubt. But what had happened here was far worse than any battle scars or destroyed systems. Scanner readings show no power output, Lieutenant Wren reported, pointing to a flickering hologram of the Echelon's interior. Life signs are zero, but the ship's biocontainment logs have been corrupted. Looks like someone tried to wipe the data before systems shut down. Mira narrowed her eyes. And the creature we encountered? Dr. Kira Valen, the Starbound's medical officer, spoke softly from the corner. "It wasn't just a creature, Captain. I've run a partial analysis of the biological samples we collected. This pathogen, it's unlike anything cataloged. It appears to be a form of synthetic organic virus, capable of rapid mutation and high contagion." A murmur rippled through the room. "That means it's still active," Mira said grimly. "And it could be on our ship now." The Starbound's crew exchanged uneasy glances. A pathogen that could spread through their ranks meant quarantine, or worse. "Seal all compartments," Mira ordered. "No one moves without authorization. Dr. Valen, start a full bioscan of the crew. I want to know if we're carrying any surprises." As the ship's systems locked down, the tension aboard the Starbound thickened like smoke. Every creak of the hull, every flicker of the lights, felt like a whisper of unseen danger. Mira returned to the viewport, staring at the hulking shape of the Echelon drifting silently in the void. The ship was a tomb, but one that still held secrets worth dying for. Minutes later, the ship jolted. An alarm blared through the corridors. The Starbound was under attack. "Shields up. Weapons ready," Mira barked. The view screen flickered, showing the silhouettes of alien warships closing in fast, sleek, deadly, and hostile. Myra's jaw tightened. The ancient empires were coming. They wanted the Echelon, and they wanted to wipe out anyone foolish enough to stand in their way. The battle that followed was brutal. The Starbound, though outgunned, fought with every trick humanity had learned: evasive maneuvers, electronic countermeasures, and sheer reckless daring. Amidst the chaos, Myra's calm crackled. "Captain, we have a problem," Wren said, voice tight. "The pathogen is spreading faster than we thought. Dr. Valen's quarantine protocols aren't holding." Mira clenched her fists. "Do whatever it takes to contain it. I want no casualties." But the ship's doctor shook her head. "It's not just biological, Captain. It's integrated with the ship's systems. The pathogen can manipulate technology. It's alive in a way we don't understand." Suddenly, the lights dimmed and the Starbound shuddered. Systems flickered and failed as the pathogen began to seize control. Myra's heart pounded. Humanity was fighting not just alien enemies, but an enemy born of forgotten wars and ancient nightmares. "We have to get out of here," she said. "Plot a course back to Coalition space fast." But even as they fled, the Echelon's ghostly secrets clung to them, a reminder that in this vast galaxy, humanity was no longer just a primitive species. They were the reckoning. The Starbound shuddered as the alien pathogen crawled through its circuits like a digital plague. Systems blinked off and on in erratic spasms. Navigation faltered, communications garbled, life support sputtered. The ship groaned under the invisible assault, and the crew felt it too, though the enemy was invisible, silent, relentless. Captain Miracade stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the erratic displays, her jaw clenched. The Starbound was slipping from their control, piece by piece. "Report," she demanded. Lieutenant Rin's fingers flew over the controls, voice tense. "The pathogen is affecting the AI core and the biomonitoring systems. It's mutating inside the ship's infrastructure. If it reaches the reactor control nodes, we're done for." Dr. Kira Valen appeared at the door, her face pale but resolute. "Captain, the infection is biological as well. It's spreading through air filtration and contact surfaces. Some crew members are showing symptoms: fever, hallucinations, neural degradation." Mira felt a cold shiver despite the ship's artificial climate. "How long do we have?" "Not long," Kira said. "If we don't isolate the infected soon, it will be a ship-wide outbreak." The bridge was silent for a moment, the weight of their predicament settling like a stone. The Echelon's ghost was no ordinary enemy. It was a hybrid menace, part pathogen, part digital virus, a weapon designed to consume all it touched. "Seal off infected quarters," Mira ordered. "Full quarantine lockdown. Medical team to the ready." "Understood," Rin replied. "But Captain, the pathogen is already inside the ventilation ducts. We can't contain it with simple lockdowns." Myra's mind raced. This was a nightmare no human had ever prepared for. The ancient Thalver, with their warships and incomprehensible tech, had created something that defied all logic, a living weapon capable of turning a starship into a tomb. "Doctor, what do you suggest?" Mira asked. Kira hesitated. "There's a theory that the pathogen's core intelligence might be connected to the Echelon's command module. If we can access it, we might be able to disrupt or reprogram it." Mira nodded. "Then that's our next objective. Prepare an away team. I'm going with you." As the medical officers worked feverishly, symptoms began to emerge across the ship. Crew members huddled in isolation pods, eyes wild, voices trembling with fevered nightmares. The alien virus attacked their minds, stirring primal fears and memories that weren't their own. Myra's second-in-command, Lieutenant Hale, approached her. "Captain, the alien ships are still pursuing us. They won't let this go." Mira glanced at the tactical display. A fleet of sleek, menacing warships stalked their path like predators in the void. "We'll have to fight our way through." In the sterile corridors of the Starbound, the team geared up for the mission. Mira, Kira, and a small squad moved cautiously toward the command module, their weapons ready and sensors scanning. The air was thick with tension and something else, a faint, almost imperceptible hum that seemed to vibrate through the ship's bones. "Do you feel that?" one of the soldiers whispered. Mira nodded. "The pathogen is alive. It's aware we're here." They reached the access hatch to the command module. Mira took a deep breath and keyed the override. Inside, the room was dimly lit, covered in strange alien glyphs pulsing with eerie blue light. The central console flickered with corrupted data streams. Kira knelt by the console, connecting her diagnostic tools. "I'm interfacing with the system. It's responding, but the pathogen is resisting." Suddenly, the ship shook violently. An explosion rocked the hull nearby. Through the viewport, they saw a squad of alien boarding pods launching from the pursuing warships. "Hostiles boarding," shouted a voice over the comm. Mira cursed under her breath. "Hold your ground. We can't let them capture this module." The team set up defensive positions as the Starbound's crew fought a desperate battle in the corridors. The alien virus and the invaders were two fronts in a war no one was ready for. As Kira worked, the data streams on the console shifted, revealing flashes of the Echelon's past. Battles fought long ago, warnings encoded in the ship's memory, and a final desperate message about the pathogen, a fail-safe weapon to wipe out enemies. Myra's heart pounded. This weapon wasn't just biological. It was a curse meant to annihilate entire fleets. "We have to destroy it," she said, voice grim. Kira shook her head. "If we destroy the command module, the pathogen might spread uncontrollably. We need to find a way to contain or reprogram it." Time ran out as the alien boarding parties closed in. Mira made a decision. "Seal this compartment. I'll stay with the command module. You get back to the ship. We'll buy you time." Kira protested, but Mira shook her head. "This is our only chance. Humanity doesn't give up, not now." As the hatch sealed behind the retreating team, Mira faced the glowing console alone, the ship trembling around her. The unseen enemy pulsed in the darkness, and she prepared to face it head-on. In that moment, humanity's greatest strength shone, courage in the face of annihilation, defiance against the impossible. The battle for the Echelon's secrets was just beginning. The Starbound trembled like a wounded beast. From her isolated station in the Echelon's command module, Captain Mira Cade felt every shudder, every jolt, every pulse of hostile fire striking the ship's hull. Outside, the void was endless, but inside, the war was far from over. Her suit's helmet HUD flickered with static as she stared down at the alien console's corrupted interface. The glowing glyphs writhed beneath her touch like living things, ancient code that resisted her every attempt at access. The pathogen wasn't just a virus. It was intelligence, alive and sentient, entwined with the Echelon's systems like a symbiotic nightmare. Myra's comm crackled faintly, the only connection left to her retreating team. "Mira, do you read? We're retreating to the Starbound. Status: command module is compromised but still functional. The pathogen resists my interface, but I'm close to isolating its core functions. Hold position as long as you can." Suddenly, a pulse of light flared from the console, casting eerie shadows across the cramped chamber. The glyph shifted, forming symbols that resembled a warning or a message. Myra's breath caught. The pathogen was communicating. She focused, tracing patterns in the alien code. Images flashed in her mind. Ancient battles, annihilation, a warning from the Thalver themselves. This was no ordinary weapon. It was a safeguard, designed to prevent the Echelon's technology from falling into enemy hands. Then, the console emitted a piercing tone. A transmission, weak, encrypted, but unmistakable, broke through the silence. Myra's eyes widened. This was the signal the galaxy had been searching for. "Lieutenant Wren, patch the signal through to the main comm," she ordered. Back aboard the Starbound, the bridge crew scrambled to decode the message. The signal was a distress call, ancient but clear. "To any who find this vessel, beware the Gravemind Protocol. The weapon you seek is more than a virus. It is the sentient will of a lost empire, and it will consume all life to protect its secrets. Humanity is the key, and the reckoning has begun." The room fell silent. The words echoed like a prophecy, a dire warning wrapped in mystery. Myra's mind raced. The Gravemind Protocol, the name was known only in the oldest galactic legends, dismissed as myth. A biotechnological intelligence that could infect star systems, consume planets, and rewrite life itself. And now, it was alive inside the Echelon and the Starbound. "Prepare for jump," Mira ordered. "We're heading back to Coalition space to report, but we're carrying a threat no one is ready for." As the Starbound powered up its engines, Mira took one last look at the Echelon, a giant relic of a forgotten war, a tomb of dead empires, and the birthplace of an enemy that could change the fate of the galaxy. The signal in the void had been found, but the question remained, could humanity survive the reckoning? The Starbound sliced through the void at near light speed, engines humming steadily as the crew clung to a fragile hope. Their battered ship carried not only wounded bodies and shattered nerves, but a secret that threatened everything humanity had built, the Gravemind Protocol. Captain Mira Cade stood at the bridge viewport, eyes fixed on the distant specks of light that marked Coalition space. Behind those stars lay safety, allies, and answers. But the journey home was far from over. Status report, Mira demanded, her voice steady despite the gnawing anxiety beneath. Lieutenant Rin's fingers flew over the console, scanning biosensor data. The pathogen remains active, Captain. It's confined for now, but several crew members are showing advanced symptoms. The quarantine measures slowed it down, but haven't stopped it. Mira clenched her fists. How much time? Days, maybe hours, Rin said grimly. If we don't find a cure or a way to purge it, the Starbound becomes a floating plague. Dr. Kira Valen approached, her expression grave. The pathogen isn't just biological or digital. It's symbiotic. It evolves in response to treatment attempts. The more we fight it conventionally, the stronger it gets. Myra's mind raced. This was no ordinary contagion. It was a weapon of war crafted by a civilization that had disappeared into history, yet left behind a nightmare that defied understanding. Suddenly, the ship's comm chimed. An incoming transmission. Patch it through, Mira ordered. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the face of Admiral Resitalis, a stern figure with decades of military command etched into his features. Captain Cade, he began, we've been monitoring your progress. Your findings about the Echelon and the Gravine Protocol are unprecedented. Coalition High Command is convening an emergency council. Mira straightened. Admiral, the pathogen is aboard my ship. It's spreading fast, and our containment is fragile. We're dispatching a medical research fleet to meet you. They carry specialized equipment to analyze and neutralize the threat, Reza said. Until then, maintain quarantine. And Captain, trust no one outside your crew. The Gravemine's influence may reach farther than you realize. The transmission ended, leaving a heavy silence on the bridge. Mira exchanged a look with her officers. The warning hung in the air like a shadow. The Gravemind wasn't just a biological weapon. It was a force reaching beyond the Echelon, threatening entire civilizations. As the Starbound approached Coalition space, the crew prepared for what could be the most critical encounter in human history. But beneath the surface of their mission lurked darker secrets. Whispers of sabotage aboard the Starbound had already surfaced. Some believed the pathogen was more than just an enemy. It was a test, a catalyst for something far greater. Mira vowed to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Because in the heart of the galaxy, the past was never truly dead. The Starbound was limping into Coalition space, its hull scarred, its crew exhausted and weary. The pathogen was contained, but far from defeated. Worse yet, Captain Mira Cade could sense something rotten festering not just in the ship's systems, but among the people she commanded. The corridors, once bustling with focused activity, now hummed with hushed conversations, sidelong glances, and mounting suspicion. Every glance could hide a secret, every word a double meaning. The Gravine Protocol was not only a threat from outside, it was unraveling them from within. Mira sat in the ship's command center, reviewing sensor logs and security footage. The data showed an anomaly, unauthorized access to critical systems during the pathogen's peak outbreak. Someone sabotaged the quarantine protocols, Lieutenant Rin said grimly. They deliberately opened bulkheads, risking exposure. Myra's eyes narrowed. Who? Before Rin could answer, Dr. Kira Valen entered, face pale. Captain, I've been reviewing medical scans. There's a pattern among the infected. Those with symptoms were all recently reassigned or had contact with a specific engineer, Jalen Core. Myra's heart pounded. Bring him to the bridge. Now. Minutes later, Jalen Core stood before her, face defiant but sweat beading his forehead. Captain, I don't know what you're accusing me of. I've been trying to help contain the outbreak. Help? Myra's voice was sharp. Your clearance logs show you overrode lockdowns multiple times during critical hours. Care to explain? Jalen swallowed hard. I was ordered to by someone from Coalition Command. They said it was necessary to keep the ship operational, that the Gravemind Protocol was a controlled test. Myra's breath hitched. A test? On our crew. Jalen nodded. I didn't want to believe it, but yes. The Coalition isn't just fighting this pathogen. They're studying it. experimenting with it. The room fell silent. The horror of betrayal cut deeper than any alien weapon. Mira stared at Jalen. Who gave the order? He hesitated, then whispered, Admiral Talus. Myra's blood ran cold. A storm raged inside her. Anger, betrayal, disbelief. The very people she was supposed to trust were willing to sacrifice their own to weaponize the gray mind. We have to warn the crew, she said, and expose the truth. Rin's voice was grim. Captain, we can't trust coalition communications anymore. The pathogen might be more widespread, influencing them as well. Mira nodded. Then we become our own command. We protect our people and find a way to stop this, no matter what. As the Starbound limped closer to Coalition space, its crew faced a new enemy. Not just the alien pathogen, but the shadows of betrayal within. The reckoning was no longer just about survival. It was about who they could trust in a galaxy that seemed to have forgotten humanity's worth. Captain Mira Cade paced the bridge, the weight of betrayal heavy on her shoulders. The Starbound was no longer just a vessel. It was a battlefield of loyalties and secrets. The revelation that Admiral Talus might have orchestrated sabotage tore through the crew like a shockwave. Captain, Lieutenant Rin said cautiously, there are factions forming among the crew. Some still loyal to Coalition Command, others who want to break away. Mira paused, her gaze hardening. We can't afford division. Not now. But the tension was palpable. The once unified crew fractured into camps, whispering in corners, eyes darting with suspicion. Trust was a scarce commodity. Dr. Kira Valen approached, carrying data pads. I've been working on a potential antidote to the pathogen, but I need access to the Echelon's core systems. The problem is, the Coalition security protocols are still active, and they're preventing me from fully interfacing. Mira nodded. Then we bypassed them. I want a full diagnostic on the Echelon's core. If we're going to survive, we have to understand the weapon, inside and out. Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up an incoming fleet. Not Coalition vessels, but a neutral faction's escort ships. Unknown ships, Captain, Rin reported. They're hailing us. The screen flickered to reveal Commander Lisa Dre, leader of the Independent Orion Consortium, a powerful mercenary group known for its strict neutrality and formidable firepower. Starbound, we received your distress signal. The consortium offers aid, but at a price. Myra's jaw clenched. We're barely holding together as it is. What kind of price? Lisa's hologram smiled coldly. Information. The Gravine Protocol is not just a weapon. It's a key. The consortium wants access to the Echelon's secrets to bargain with the Coalition or control the pathogen themselves. The room erupted in murmurs. Myra's voice cut through. We're not negotiating with opportunists. Our priority is stopping the pathogen and saving our crew. Lisa's smile faded. Then you may find yourselves alone in this fight. The Starbound's crew faced an impossible choice. Ally with the consortium and risk handing the weapon over to mercenaries, or face the Coalition alone, under suspicion and threat. Mira felt the heavy burden of command pressing down. Every decision carried consequences that rippled across the galaxy. As the Starbound navigated into Coalition space, its alliances fractured, its future uncertain. The Gravine Protocol was no longer just an alien threat. It was a catalyst, exposing the fractures, the fears, and the fearful to survive that defined humanity itself. The Starbound drifted through the shimmering corridors of Coalition space, its battered frame a ghost among the fleet. Captain Mira Cade sat alone in the command center, the soft hum of the ship's systems a thin veil over the storm raging in her mind. The Gravine Protocol was no longer just a threat from beyond the stars. It was a weapon twisted by human hands, wielded in shadows for agendas darker than any alien menace. Her briefing with Coalition officials had been a farce. Behind the polished veneer of diplomacy, she glimpsed the truth. Factions within the Coalition were divided. Some saw the pathogen as a bargaining chip in a galactic power game. Others feared it could be the end of everything. Mira had demanded access to the Echelon's core archives, the data buried deep within the ancient ship's memory banks. She needed to understand the Gravemind protocol, not just as a weapon, but as a sentient entity. The request was met with resistance. "You don't understand the ramifications, Captain," said High Admiral Solon, a man whose calm eyes masked a ruthless mind. Releasing that information could destabilize the entire coalition. Mira met his gaze. "Then maybe the coalition needs to confront its own secrets before condemning us to silence." With no support forthcoming, Mira turned to an unexpected ally, Dr. Imrys Vallon, Kira's estranged father, a brilliant xenobiologist who had long been sidelined for his controversial theories on alien intelligence. In a hidden lab aboard the Starbound, Mira and Imrys pored over the Echelon's encrypted logs. Fragments of data hinted at something staggering. The Gravemind protocol wasn't just a weapon of destruction. It was designed to interface with organic life, to rewrite DNA and consciousness. "Look at this," Imrys whispered, tracing a sequence that shimmered like a living code. "It's rewriting itself, adapting to hosts, merging with them. This isn't just bioweaponry, it's evolution, forced and accelerated." Myra's heart pounded. The pathogen was not merely infectious, it was transformative. A creeping, insidious force that could redefine life itself. Their breakthrough was interrupted by an urgent alarm. Security forces flooded the lab, led by a squad of coalition officers. "You're under arrest for unauthorized access to classified data," the lead officer announced. Myra's hand went at her sidearm. "You won't take us without a fight." But Emery stepped forward, raising a data shard. "Wait. If you destroy the ship or imprison us, you doom everyone. The Gray Mind is alive, and it's more dangerous than you realize." The officers hesitated. Mira seized the moment. "We're not just fighting an alien virus. We're fighting the Coalition's silence and fear." As the standoff escalated, a broadcast interrupted the tension, a live transmission from the Orion Consortium. Lisa Dre's face appeared, bold and defiant. "The Coalition hides its darkest secrets while the grave mind spreads," she declared. "We offer a new path: cooperation, transparency, survival. Humanity must unite or fall divided." The room erupted into chaos. Alliances shattered, loyalties tested. Mira realized the fight was no longer just against an alien weapon or political betrayal. It was a struggle for humanity's very soul. The deep hum of the Starbound's engines was a fragile rhythm against the haunting silence of the ancient data core. Captain Miracade stood before the glowing console, its alien script flickering like ghosts of a forgotten past. With the help of Dr. Imrys Vallon, they had unlocked fragments of history, lost archives that told the story of the Thalver, the enigmatic civilization that created the Echelon and the Gravemind Protocol. Images filled the holographic display, vast star cities consumed by firestorms, colossal biomachines roaming devastated planets, and armies of living weapons bred for war. The Gravemind was more than a weapon. It was a living war engine, a hive mind of destruction designed to cleanse and conquer. Imrys traced a finger over the display. The Thalver faced extinction at the hands of their own creation. The Gravemind turned on its makers, consuming their worlds in a relentless cycle. Mira swallowed hard. "So the Gravemind isn't just a threat to us. It's a warning." "Exactly," Emery said. "It's designed to prevent the technology from falling into enemy hands. But in doing so, it became the galaxy's deadliest predator." As the Starbound drifted through Coalition space, Mira knew that understanding the past was crucial, but it also painted a grim picture of their future. Suddenly, an alert flashed. An unknown vessel had entered their proximity. Unlike the Consortium ships or Coalition cruisers, this craft was sleek, silent, and ominously unfamiliar. Myra's comm crackled to life. "Captain, sensors show it's broadcasting an encrypted message." Rin decrypted the signal. The message was chilling. "Gravemind resurgence detected. Prepare for assimilation or annihilation." The voice was cold, mechanical, but undeniably alien. Myra's fists clenched. The war was no longer just political or biological, it was cosmic. The echoes of an ancient war were crashing down on humanity's fragile alliance. And the Gravemind Protocol was the spearhead. The Starbound's hull groaned under the strain of near-constant alerts. Outside, the void had darkened. Starfields dimmed as the alien warship loomed, a monstrous silhouette against the galaxy's light. Captain Miracade stood on the bridge, eyes blazing with determination. The Gravemind Protocol was no longer a secret or a weapon to be traded. It was a test of humanity's will, ingenuity, and heart. Battle stations, Mira commanded. This is the moment we prove what it means to be human. The crew moved with practiced urgency, a fragile unity forged through trials and betrayal. They were battered, scarred, but unbroken. Dr. Emery's Valen's voice crackled over comms. Captain, the antidote is ready. It's a blend of synthetic enzymes and targeted nanites designed to disrupt the Gravemind's integration with hosts. Distribute immediately, Mira ordered. Every second counts. As the Starbound engaged the alien warship, a battle unlike any other unfolded. Between technology and biology, mind and machine, fear and hope. The alien vessel unleashed waves of bioconstructs, grotesque amalgamations of flesh and metal, but the crew's defenses held. Guided by human intuition and grit, the Starbound's pilots danced through the chaos. Inside the ship, the antidote coursed through infected veins. Crew members convulsed, then slowly regained control, eyes clearing as the Gravemind's influence receded. But the true battle was not outside, it was within. Mira activated the Echelon's core interface, connecting her consciousness to the Gravemind's vast neural network. The alien intelligence pulsed, ancient, cold, but curious. You seek to control what you do not understand, Mira thought, sending a wave of empathy and defiance. The Gravemind responded with visions, millennia of conquest, survival, and loneliness. It was not just a weapon, but a being longing for connection, trapped in endless cycles of destruction. Myra's mind raced. We don't have to be enemies. With a final surge of will, she offered an alliance, an integration of human creativity and alien evolution. The Gravemind hesitated, then relented. The dark storm in its core began to dissipate, replaced by a nascent spark of understanding. The alien warship halted its assault and slowly retreated, the stars reclaiming their light. As the Starbound limped home, humanity faced a new dawn, not as conquerors or victims, but as pioneers of a shared future. Captain Miracade gazed at the stars, knowing the fight was only the beginning. But this time, humanity was ready.